Michael at the TMI Labs. We got a Keybed refresh here on a Fatar Keybed. Pretty noisy. Got a bad case of the Clickies. Doesn't have the Squeekies though, but it does have the Clickies. I want to deep dive into this and tear this thing apart and show you what you need to know to resolve yourself of this very common issue. This is off of a Kurzweil PC88MX keyboard. I kind of do things assembly line here. I take all the springs off and then I release the back of the keys before I take them out. Just saves a little time, I think. So you want to be careful here because these keys are plastic and they can be brittle, so be careful. Don't want to break any of those. Take the white keys off, then take the black keys off. And this, as I said, is a very common issue. I think it's probably around 2000 I started calling this the Clickies, so other engineers would know what I'm talking about, versus the Squeekies. And if you're in a recording session, you got a live mic, you don't want either one of those things. So here's the weighted key action on this, and that band you see in there, that piece of felt, I'm going to show it a little bit better here. I've got things sped up because believe me, you don't want to be real time unless you're actually doing this. But the felt will sometimes shift and be out of place, and it'll allow that nylon to impact the nylon base. Here, I'm going to slow it down here, and you can take a look. Also on the end here, you've got this nifty little thing. It just swings over and comes off, and that gives you access to the metal rod that holds each one of these weighted actions in place in case you have to dig in any deeper. I hope you don't have to. That's how you get to that. So you can tell where those things are flapping down and hitting that base plate on that. Some of them are not, some of them are. There's pretty easy to see, certainly easy to hear. So you got these handy dandy access holes here where you can just kind of push up and release that old felt, and it's not going to come out in one piece likely, but that's how you can get it started at least. And if it kind of gets bound up, you can just kind of force it up. Speeding this thing back up because this does take a little bit of time to go in there. Make sure you get every little piece of that out. While you have it out, inspect the action, make sure there's no cracks, you don't have a weight that's getting ready to fall or anything. And this is the felt that I use. I order this in bulk, but I think you can get like 3 rolls of it or so. One roll will take care of this particular issue, one full run. And it's wider, it's a little bit thicker as well, and it is sticky on one side. So when you have that in there, it's going to give you a little more space than it had when it was new. Being wider, it's going to offer a little more resilience as well over time. So it's unlikely you'll have to do this again. You can tell how far up those things will rest now. There's no way they're going to hit that anymore. So this is my solution. This is what I've always used. I actually used a different felt and couldn't get that anymore. I had to find a new supplier, but you can get it on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description for the felt and actually everything that I use in here so you can quickly order what you need and get it delivered. So you don't have to really worry usually about having to clean up to make sure that your new felt will stick. After you remove this old felt, it's usually pretty clean. It comes off pretty well. If you have any residual stickiness, well, it's not really going to hurt anything because you want sticky. But do make sure you get everything out of there. And the felt that I use is a little wider, obviously. It's almost twice as wide. Not length, as I just kind of stretched it out. I kind of give it a rough cut to get the length, and I start peeling off the back. Each one of these sections, there's 2 sections of hammers in the PC88 Keybed, and each one is made of a subset of several hammers kind of lumped together, and there's a little divider between. You'll be able to see that. As you're putting this in there, however, if you, given that it's wider than the original, we're going to take it all the way to the edge and then just use the weights themselves to kind of press them into position, make sure they're adhering real well. And I just go subsection by subsection on this and put those in there and line up the edge of the felt with the edge of that nylon base, and that'll get you there. Make sure you don't put it in so far that it affects the action. You want those hammers to go up and down freely. You don't want anything in the way. You don't want that felt kind of binding it up or slowing it down or anything. So, but that's really all there is to it. You want to put that in there. You don't have any, make sure you don't have any kinks in that felt. Just needs to lay consistently smooth all the way across. And it does a tremendous job. I love this felt. I've used a lot of it. Like I said, I order it in bulk, but I think you can get like 3-pack, 6-pack or something like that. And yeah, one roll is conveniently a little bit longer than an 88 Keybed. So once you're done, you just trim off the ends. You don't have to really get it super close. Just get rid of that excess. And one more time to make sure everything is situated beautifully. And inspect everything for cracks and make sure everything is moving freely and easily. Those hammers are they should just flop over with no resistance at all. And make sure you don't twist all that mechanism there, because it will twist. And since we're in here, here's some silicone grease. Link in the description for the stuff that I use. People have their own opinion on which lubricant works well. But what I'm doing here, now this keyboard didn't have the issue that I call the Squeekies. But this will make sure it never develops that. So the squeakies occur when you have a little, I refer to it as a tuning fork, because it's kind of doing that. It's just a little plastic piece on the bottom of the keys that push down that felt that I'm putting that grease on right now. And when it doesn't have any lubrication, then you get this drag and slippage, kind of like a finger on a wine glass, only this sound isn't near as pleasant. So make sure that's lubed, and that won't happen. So if you have the squeakies, this is your problem. And since I'm in this deep, as I said, I look for things to do at this point, because I don't want to have to do this again. I don't want to have to chance breaking keys or anything, and it's kind of a hassle to have to do that. So I make sure my felts are clean. And if you want to replace any of these felts, you can use the same felt that I use for this particular repair. Just cut yourself off a little piece, clean that felt off real well, and make sure that it is well adhered. But I don't think I've ever seen any of the felt give up. It's just a matter of applying some grease, and it solves the squeaky issue. So that's what I'm going to do to both of these sections. Just make sure that they are good to go. I'm going to give you a little close-up view so you can kind of see. You've got an even distribution of grease on all of the felt. 100% of the length of the felt there towards the back. Make sure that you have it all covered. Of course, I put those weights back in. Here's some glass cleaner. I love this glass cleaner, the Speedway glass cleaner. Might as well leave a link to that too. I love it. I use it all around the house. It's just really good. No residual, and it's a foaming action thing, and it has a good scent to it too. But while I'm in here, I'm going to make sure that things are cleaned up and all around those contacts. You don't want anything getting in there and getting in the way. Just a little grain of something in the way there is a problem. It'll make your switches turn on a little too fast, and you might have some issues there. That's it for this keyboard. This is the only issue that it had with the Keybed. So I'm replacing the black keys. One size fits all. All the black keys are the same. Doesn't matter what order you have, as opposed to the white keys, which do matter. Now the white keys will have an octave as well as the key. So you might see a G4, G3. It doesn't matter about the number, but it does matter about the letter. So as a matter of fact, if you're a purist, then by all means go ahead, put your C0 on first if you want. It doesn't matter the number. In fact, if you order a replacement key, they're not going to care about the number. They're just going to be asking. But on this particular FITAR key bed, and a lot of FITAR key beds, you don't want to mix up the A with the D, for example. There is a difference on the right side of the key. In fact, there'll be a few millimeters difference there between the D and the G and the D and the A. On some keys, you might see G/A. Basically you can use it in either position. But you don't want to mix up the D and the A. For some reason it is off. Now here's the springs. There are two different springs. They are not interchangeable. I'm colorblind, red green colorblind. So I have to really look closely at this. But you got a gold and a silver. The gold is for the black keys. The silver has a higher tension for the white keys because that weight's further away from the pivot point. It only makes sense you're going to have a higher tension there to make it feel like the black keys do. And if you get those switched around, you get a silver on a black. If you play for more than 10 seconds, you're going to be able to tell the difference. It's going to be a little spongier, or if you get one of those silvers on the black, it's going to be harder to push down. Likewise, if you have a gold on a white, it's the opposite problem, it'd be soft. So before it was pretty clicky. Bad case of the clickies. After that, repair. Beautiful. I would say better than the original. The felt is a little thicker, a little wider, more resilient. Everything is, I think that felt will outlast the usefulness of the keyboard. So I just give it a once through, make sure everything's moving more than anything else. And that's about it. And as I said, I'm using this in this little rig that I built. I got a lot of half racks on the bottom there, but it's a great as a controller. Weighted 88 keys. I love this as a controller. It's really cool. Very nice. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. See you later.